Philippe, would you concede that in order to win this game tomorrow, you're going to have to play significantly better than you did at the weekend?
Yeah, but it's two totally different games. Two totally different opponents. You cannot compare these styles. And would you have said the same if we would have scored 4 goals that game, if it was 4-1? Would you have had the same question that moment? Because we had really good opportunities and the goalkeeper made 2 really good saves. It could have been 4-1, and then you maybe would have said, Rangers, 4 goals against Steaua Bucharest, now 4 again. And it's another perception, so it's again about this perception, emotions, everything. We won the game against St. Mirren, we wanted to score more goals. Yes, we had these opportunities also. We took several of those good. Goalkeeper played also a really good game. We get a goal against where there could be a foul whistled also. I didn't want to go in that discussion after the game. That's another discussion. There are a lot of things. So it's now next game Aberdeen, better opponent than St. Mirren, yes, but was Steaua Bucharest a worse opponent than St. Mirren? Also not, but there we were efficient, we took the moments and we played a really good game out of that. And Steaua Bucharest created better chances maybe than St. Mirren did, but at the end it's 4-0 and there's a perception around. So it's about looking at the reality, and that we need a top performance tomorrow against Aberdeen, that we know. And I'm confident the team is going to give that.
St. Mirren did have a number of chances to score more than one. Do you have to be, defence have to be better?
Yes, we talked about that, we showed images about that, because it were the several similar actions that they could do that we don't want to see, and it's also one of the strengths of Aberdeen. So we had a separate meeting with the defence about that.
So that's a concern for you?
No, it's not a concern. It's taking attention towards that, because I don't think that other teams in the league play games without conceding chances also. But we need to be better in that. We need to put standards high to have it less than we had in this game. About that one kind of chances that we got against.
How big a decision is it, that centre-half pairing you have to make? Also, John coming back in, Nana playing very well there when he moved to centre-half at the weekend, also Robin Proper coming off. How big a call is that to decide what 2 you go with?
It's not what you want and what you think about before the game, but sometimes you need to react in the game to make the right decisions. And all these players are human beings, like all the players are in the world, and everybody can have also less good day than other days and be in problems because of that, and then it's my job also to make the right decisions at that moment. So that's what we did. That's why I'm here for.
Philippe, you talk about perceptions. Sometimes this season has felt a little bit like 2 steps forward and 1 back at times. I asked Nedum a similar question. Does tomorrow night feel like a night where if you go and win, it can really knock you on for the rest of the season? Really be the launch
for the outside or inside? No, for inside, we're going to go full for these 3 points and we're going to go hard. And we have confidence that we're going to play a really good season. We don't need that moment to be ready for Sunday, for example. We want to be ready for Sunday. So it's game by game, giving our best.
But okay, to show other teams in the league then that you're in this fight, properly in this fight.
Okay, maybe it's better that they don't think we're in the fight, and that they underestimate us at the end. No, we just focused on ourselves and not on all this noise and things around. Just about ourselves and winning games.
Is that easy to do, to cut off all that noise and kind of talk of pressure on the club?
It's difficult in the press conferences, very difficult, and today more than ever maybe. No, it's part of football, and it's changed a lot in the last 10 years than before. But players need to learn that also. Václav was in that way also a really good example, because he was really, really hardly touched by all the comments that he got after Malmö and Lyon. And he cut out his Insta after a good talk about that. because it's of no use. It's totally of no use to live in these emotions, because then you can never create stability. There's not one person in the world who is every day at his best and a top performance, but that's what's expected from all the players. And we're pushing in that way, and we're looking who's at one moment of the season in the best way, but also in moments that they didn't perform in their best, you need to give them also confidence to be the next time there to react in that way. So if I would listen to that and read all of that, then I would make a lot of bad calls, I think. Because, for example, Czerny would not have played after Lyon, and he was the most decisive player that we had the last couple of weeks, for example.
Have you had other conversations with other players about blocking out that noise, especially when they come to a club
Yes.
that has more noise than perhaps they're perhaps used to?
Yeah, then that's a different world, and in that way we're still working on making steps with the group. And it's not only about that, about noise and all those things, it's also about playing every 3 days, playing European football combined with domestic games and having this rhythm of games. Your body needs to adapt, your mind needs to adapt. So we're working on all these things with a lot of players where it's the first time that they are in this situation. You have others who are more used of doing that, and they can help in that way also in the dressing room, because it's crucial. This club is about winning every game. If you win, it's good, or it's normal, and if you lose, everything is really bad. So you need to live with that, and you need to have this ambition to be next time on top to win it. It's about that every time, all over. And if you create then consistency, then you get results at the end.
I suppose things have changed so much recently in the last few years, Philip, with social media and the focus on players after games, especially on social media, different from when you played.
Oh yeah, it's much different. That moment, everything was just cut in stones. It was not even paper. So it's a really long time ago. No, it's a big difference. It's a different life. But yeah, I had also an experience in that way when I was a player. But it's a really long story. I don't want to bother you with that. So when I think I was already 30 or something, there was the first time the Fan Forum at my club where I was captain and where I was already a long time. So it was something new. It's something, exciting, because you could read afterwards what people were thinking about you, fans. So everybody looked at that, all dressing room, and we started to talk about that also. So, and then you start to see, okay, this profile, he's really somebody who knows about football because he thinks I'm a really good player. And the other one, always critical for me, so he doesn't know too much about football. That was the reaction by every player, human. So after 6 months or something that the forum was there, we had a fan day at the club, so there were a lot of things to do around the club, and we had a training with the team. And I had to be referee for a football game of all the people from the Fan Forum. So they all came to play football. So I was really interested who were the guys who know everything about football, and who were the guys who know less. But at the end, I saw that there was nobody really good in playing football. But they were good in recognizing it or not recognizing it from my side. So in the end, it's not only what you see on the pitch, it's also all the things around. Life, dressing room, training, all these things. You need all those things in a process. I understand that people that never been in a dressing room or never been in what is the process to come to a team or to become a good player, that you try to explain that, but sometimes you cannot spread this message if you didn't live it. So I understand that way. So in that way, I learned out of that moment also to accept it more and not to put so much attention to it than I was in the beginning. So that was a good lesson for me.
Is it harder now though? Sorry.
Very quickly.
I'm just going to say, is it harder now than back then? I mean, it's not so long ago, but with Twitter, Instagram, as you say, there's...
No, it's a new world, but is it harder? It's not only football, because we cannot exaggerate in that. It's society. It's with children also. You could, when you were a young child, in my time, you could have been bullied. I never had it, luckily. I was one of the taller ones. You could have been bullied during school hours, and you came home in a safe environment. And now children can be bullied all the time because it's by the phone, and they have their phone all the time in their hands. So it's society that changes in that way. And it's the same for you guys. Before, you had the newspapers and you had the next day the deadline, and now it's every second that you need to bring something, because otherwise somebody else is bringing. So the world has changed in that way, and we all need to adapt in that way. So for players, it's different now than 10, 20 years ago. Is it more difficult or more harder? I don't know. It's just society changed it, and football has changed, and you need to adapt. So I cannot say if it's harder or not. There are other difficulties.